Day 8 is in the books here in Ashburn as the Washington Commanders continue their training camp, and it was another spirited practice today. It was a practice where the offense at times were able to move the ball and sustain some success, but then on occasion the defense made some big plays as well. It's been a very competitive camp all throughout, and today was no different. When you look at some of the players that stood out, Luke McCaffrey, the second-year player from Rice, he had a big day today. You know, he had a couple nice catches and had a big play in the 2-minute drill for Jaden Daniels' offense. On the defensive side of the ball, Trey Amos, he's really ascending, folks, and he's starting opposite Marshawn Lattimore as Mikey Sainristil, you know, who had a rookie sensational year last year, has moved into the slot. And Trey Amos today had a couple big plays against Deebo Samuel. So the young guys have really made their presence felt. Another player that's making his presence felt is a veteran who was brought in from the New York Jets last year. And we're talking about the big man out here, Javon Kinlaw. And Javon Kinlaw, you know, goes back to his days in San Francisco with general manager Adam Peters. And the team's expecting big things from him. Well, Javon Kinlaw is expecting big things from this year's defense. Okay. Hey, Javon Kinlaw, and you know, a DC native back home in the area. How excited are you to be back home?
Sure, it's a blessing, man. I had a bunch of my peoples over there. It's just cool because they never really seen me on the day-to-day process, you know. So I'm just excited for them to see what it really looked like and should give it my all for my family, you know.
So you're a player that when you go back to San Francisco and then last year in New York, you know, a versatile defensive lineman.
Yes, sir.
Do you see a certain position on this group that you'll be, or do you feel like, you know, you can provide on the edge as well as come down underneath?
I feel like I can play anywhere, brother. I've been doing that, you know, since college. And honestly, I started my position playing defensive end. Yep. So it's nothing new, but it's a couple new nuances that I'm trying to get used to when playing out there versus inside. You know, it's like riding a bike inside. The outside it's a little slower. You got to see things a little different. So I'm trying to make sure I'm right by the time week 1.
Now, I know you won't say it. We're not going to talk about the Jets from last year. But coming from there to here, what's the difference as far as the culture and atmosphere?
Brother, it's just a blessing to be here, bro. You know, I wake up every day. I want to be here. You know what I mean? I can't wait. If some mornings I'm like, I can't wait to go to work. Just, you know, you want to be around people that enjoy being here, you know, great human beings all across the board, you know, from the top down. You know, I think they designed it that way. Mm-hmm. Sure, I'm just glad that they thought I was a cool dude enough to bring on, you know.
How do you feel this defense could be? Because, I mean, if you look at the back end, you got a lot of young guys with speed back there making plays. And then, of course, bringing in yourself, bringing in Diedrich, you know, some wily vets. How do you feel like you help some of the young guys like Johnny Newton in there?
Well, first and foremost, I feel like we can be one best in the world. We can be the best in the world, brother. From the back end, you know, them some scrappy dudes, they cover, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They sticky like mouse traps. And they can hit too. They can tackle, you know what I mean? And the linebackers, you know, you got B-Wags, smart dude, Luvu, you know what I mean? Just he gonna run and hit. He can pass rush. And up front, we got versatility everywhere. You know, a bunch of interchangeable guys that can do a lot of things. And man, when it comes to the young guys, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still young myself. This gonna be only like
I didn't say that.
Hey, I bet. But this only gonna be my 3rd full season.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Lord willing. And but when it comes to those younger guys, you know, I step in to say things when I need to, you know. But me, I'm still trying to learn the game myself, you know.
Yeah.
So man, I'm just blessed to be here, bro.
And then finally, playing with number 5. You know, you saw from afar what he was doing. But being here in the building with him and practicing against him, what do you see in his second year?
Man, he a dog, bro. One of the best I've been around for sure. Can put the ball in some places that others can't, you know. And then he could do it with his legs, you know what I mean? He ain't scared to take a hit. Yeah, he a good dude out there talking trash. That's what you want to see, real competitor. I'm lucky to be here, bro. I can't say it enough.
Okay, well, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Day 8 is in the books here in Ashburn as the Washington Commanders continue their training camp. And today was just like it's been all off season, where this team is working hard. And today you saw the offense at times move the football, and then at times you saw the defense make some outstanding plays. Well, I'm bringing in a longtime friend of mine to help me along the ride and explain exactly what we saw today. My good friend Matt Lombardo from Between the Hashmarks on Substack. So welcome. How you doing, my friend?
Great to finally see you here in
Ashburn.
Ashburn.
Man, always. This guy has done a phenomenal job covering the NFL over the years, covering the Philadelphia Eagles. He's covered the New York Giants. You know, so for you to see you down here in Ashburn for the first time, seeing this new regime, What was your impression?
Yeah, I think the thing that really jumped off the page for me, Lake, was the culture, first and foremost. Just from Dan Quinn addressing the elephant in the room, the Terry McLaurin contract, right off of Jump Street in his press conference, talking about how they've handled it internally, how he's just happy that Terry's here. And then you step out onto the field, and the talent really shines through. This is a team that was knocking on the doorstep of a Super Bowl a year ago, and you can really tell that Jaden Daniels has taken a step even from his gangbusters rookie season. Zach Ertz continues to be a favorite target. And you look at what this offense, how they move the ball with Deebo Samuel. You look at what the defense is able to do with some of the young talent here. They're a team that's going to be in the mix, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and obviously it starts with Jaden Daniel, and he has taken that second step. And just the other day, he was talking to us in the media room and telling us that, he wants to start holding people accountable as well as himself. And a guy that you're very familiar with from your days in Philadelphia, Zach Ertz, is a guy that Jaden leans on. And you saw the old man out here today making a lot of plays. How important is Zach Ertz in this offense?
Yeah, I've had this theory for a long time that when you have a young quarterback, the best friend, the most important piece of the puzzle on offense is an experienced pass-catching tight end, and Zach Ertz checks that box. And you saw it today. It was like you turned back the clock and you saw Zach Ertz circa 2017, 2018 in Philadelphia, making plays over the middle. You saw it during a red zone drill, the touchdown right along the goal line on a perfectly timed pass from Jaden Daniels. They funnel this offense through Zach Ertz for good reason. It's obvious that Jaden Daniels has a lot of confidence in Zach Ertz, but they're not afraid to air it out when the opportunity presents itself. And I thought that there were a couple of throws that really reiterate and underscore that Jaden Daniels is a franchise quarterback and the reason why the Commanders have such a bright immediate future.
Yeah, and on offense, there were a lot of young guys that were getting a lot of touches today. Kaz Allen jumps out. He's a guy that hasn't made the roster over the last 2 seasons, but for whatever reason, they still like this guy and they're giving him opportunities. So he made some plays today. But another young guy that's really, taking this team by storm is Jalen Lane, the young guy from Virginia Tech. He's a guy that right now, because Terry McLaurin's not in camp, maybe it helps him on this roster. Did you see anything from him today?
I thought there were a couple really nice throws from Jalen Lane. I also thought that finally Luke McCaffrey started to pop a little bit. I mean, the play of the day in my column coming out of this practice is it was a move the ball drill with Jaden Daniels in the first team offense.
Yeah.
Perfectly placed pass, leading McCaffrey to the corner of the end zone.
And he kept his feet in.
Kept his feet in, made the catch, and it was just the timing was impeccable. And there aren't that many quarterbacks that could have made that throw with that touch, that on the money. And there are a lot of young guys. Lane is one of them. McCaffrey is one of them. There are a lot of young receivers who are going to benefit from the reps of Terry McLaurin being a fan favorite over here, but not on the practice field as he handles his business with the contract talks.
Yeah, now a story that, hopefully it doesn't develop into anything more, but second to last play of practice, we were standing together and Deebo Samuel looked like maybe he jammed his finger, and we're hoping that's what all it is. But he was in considerable pain, and he walked off the field with the trainers. He did stay out here afterwards with his family, and he was holding his kid. So, hopefully that's a sign that it's not anything too serious. This team can ill afford to have Deebo Samuel get hurt.
For sure, and especially with the McLaurin situation unresolved and the young depth, it's great to have the reps on the practice field, right? To get these guys, get their sea legs underneath them at the NFL level, you can evaluate them. But when you start getting into preseason games and the clock starts ticking towards the regular season, if you're trotting out there with, Luke McCaffrey and, Ja'Cory Brooks and these young guys as your receiving core because McLaurin isn't here and Deebo's banged up, that's the type of thing that can derail a season pretty quickly.
Now, on the defensive side of the ball, one of the guys I was telling you to look for was Trey Amos. He's a second-round pick, from Ole Miss, formerly from Alabama. And this is a guy that's done a lot of great things so far. He's starting right now opposite Marshawn Lattimore, who, by the way, is having an outstanding camp himself. But with Trey Amos, you saw the play that he had on Deebo. You don't see a lot of young guys able to do that, especially against a physical specimen like Deebo Samuel.
They're throwing him right to the fire. And that's what you want to do with your second-round pick, a defensive back that they're really high on. The fact that he's with the ones this early, I think that's really encouraging. Showed really great ball skills, tracks the ball in the air, good timing in terms of pass breakups. And I think Amos has the odds-on shot to win a starting job and contribute immediately on this defense that's loaded with talent. I think that one of the things that really jumped out to me, just how dominant this front seven is. And
I'm so glad you said that. You saw me talking to Javon afterwards,
Yep.
and he said the same thing. Like, he said that they could be the best in the world. Simple as that. You saw that.
But first or second play, Jaden Daniels tries a rocket screen to Deebo Samuel, and Kinlaw busts through the line of scrimmage and knocks it down. And it's like, okay, this defense is announcing its presence against an ascending young quarterback and one of the top 15 receivers in the league. That's encouraging.
Yeah. So, folks, here in Ashburn, Matt Lombardo, I mean, a spirited practice to say the least. A lot of fans. Today was Kids Day here. So it was a lot of fans here, a lot of energy. And we'll see how this thing carries on. The biggest development, obviously, is the developments with Terry McLaurin, the star wide receiver. He was here today signing autographs and taking pictures, and he did so for almost an hour. He didn't speak to us in the media, so this is going to be something that's going to continue over the next couple of days. Next week, we go to New England for joint practices on Wednesday against the Patriots, and then for Friday night's first preseason game against the Patriots in Foxborough. So here in Ashburn at Commanders Park, for CBS 6 Sports, I'm NFL insider Lake Lewis Jr.